Here we go, guys. We're talking about our week 13 fantasy rankings coming right at you. Got 10 guys right now that you could put into your lineups. Listen, we know a lot of injuries, right? We've got a lot of bye weeks and everything else going on. We got to find out who we're plunking in there. Although if week 13, there is no bye weeks week 13. So that at least you get a little bit of a bye week kind of breath of fresh air, I guess. You get a full fledge of people and then right back into the bye weeks next week. But look, we're getting right into this video. At number one, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, right? It's fluctuation, right? Good times, bad times. You don't really know what you're going to get from Patrick Mahomes here as of late just because the team isn't performing like they used to. But look, they got the Cowboys coming to town. Everybody beats the living dog snot out of the Cowboys secondary. And Patrick Mahomes, I think, is going to have himself quite a day this week. He should be slinging the ball all over the field. You don't know if Isaiah Pacheco's going to be running the ball, if Kareem Hunt's going to be running the ball. They're not really getting a lot of success on the ground as of right now. Pacheco should be back from his injury, but Patrick Mahomes, he should take this whole team under his wings. They are so close. They can taste it. They're trying to get into the playoff race. It's not really, normal right now to see the Chiefs out of the playoff race. So look, Patrick Mahomes should be able to sling the ball a lot. The Cowboys clicking on all cylinders right now as they are beating the Eagles last week. They could put up a lot of numbers, right? They have a terrible defense, but a great offense. So Patrick Mahomes is going to need a lot of fantasy points to kind of keep up with Dak Prescott and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and company. So I think it's going to be a really good game for Patrick Mahomes. Get the guy into your lineup. The second guy I'm going to talk about here is going to be Trevor Lawrence, taking on this Titans defense. Now look, Trevor Lawrence maybe not be having the best fantasy season of all time, and maybe definitely not living up to his Andrew Luck successor type of mentality they had for this guy when he came out of the University of Clemson there. But it's one of those things against the Titans. You're going to want to play people against these guys. They're really bad, right? And look, you could have Brian Thomas Jr. possibly back this week. Jacoby Myers looking really good right now. He might get Brenton Strange involved just a little bit. Trevor Lawrence should have himself a nice fantasy outing here this week in week 13. I think going against this Titans team has an opportunity to help you get a win. And look, you need all the wins you can right now as you're going into the fantasy football playoffs. Put Trevor Lawrence in your lineup if you are in need of a quarterback. So, number 3, we're going over Travion Henderson taking on this Giants defense. We saw Henderson really take the reins now, even with Ramondre Stevenson being back. Henderson's getting all the carries. He's getting the bulk of the workload. And against a Giants defense that's really struggled against the run, I think a heavy dose of Travion Henderson could put up a lot of points. Look, the Patriots, they're the number one team in the AFC for a reason, right? They're kicking behind right now. Travion Henderson is going to get a lot of opportunities against a Giants team that I don't think is going to be able to keep up with Drake May and company. So make sure you put yourself some Travion Henderson into your lineup. I like him this week in week 13. Coming at number 4, I'm talking about Jaylen Warren here, getting all the carries, really, and all the bulk. You've got Kenneth Gainwell, who's getting the most of the headlines right now with his long runs and things like that. But look, don't get it twisted. Jaylen Warren is getting the bulk of the carries in this backfield. Against a Bills team, they're going to have to run the football if they want to stay competitive against the Bills. Jaylen Warren should have a lot of opportunity against this defense that really isn't stopping a lot of people. So I do like myself some Jaylen Warren here in week 13. Coming at number 5, I have to go Ted McMillan, guys, against the Rams. Now look, I hate the Panthers with a passion for fantasy football. They just don't do anything, right? Gosh, it's just the whole situation, just kind of cock-a-doodle, garbage, caca-poo-poo, whatever you want to call it. But I think Ted McMillan could be having a good opportunity. They're going to have to throw the football a lot to keep pace of this Rams. They're probably going to get blown out, right? And whether it's Bryce Young throwing the football, Andy Dalton, who knows? Who knows will be throwing the football, but Ted McMillan should be the benefactor of that passing attack. So get Ted McMillan into your lineup. I think he's going to have a good week this week against the Rams. So coming at number 6, I'm going Rashee Rice. Going to tackle this Cowboys-Chiefs game just a little bit more. I think Rashee Rice is going to get a lot of targets against this defense. Yeah, Deron Bland might be covering the guy a little bit. Look, but let's just face it, Bland hasn't been doing amazing this season. Rashee Rice kind of goes all over the formations too. Should have some good matchup proof. Should be able to sling the football quite a bit to Rashee Rice. He should have himself a monster week here in week 13 against the Cowboys defense. So coming at number 7, I am going to go Wan'Dale Robinson. Guys, it doesn't matter if Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, doesn't matter who's at the quarterback, especially if it's Jameis. I mean, he's just slinging the ball over the field. But against the Patriots team, right? They're going to have to put up points if they want to try to beat the Patriots. I don't think it's going to happen, which means it's going to be a negative game script. And Wan'Dale Robinson, boy, has he been going nuts. Over 150 yards receiving last week. Wan'Dale Robinson is the main go-to guy, young guy. Look, building up that rapport. You never know. I mean, Malik Neighbors coming back next season. Wan'Dale Robinson on the other side. You got yourself some nice wide receivers there for Jackson Dart. start. I think this is the beginning of something great, but as far as fantasy football for week 13, Ronald Robinson should be a really good play this week. So let's move right along. Number 8, I'm going to say George Pickens taking on this Chiefs. Again, going back to this Chiefs-Cowboys game. Look, George Pickens been making some crazy catches for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I think he's going to look really, really good. They're going to have to keep track with Patrick Mahomes and company as well, and I think they can easily do that. Look what they did last week with, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and all these guys. They can keep pace with anybody in the league, right? So George Pickens, I think, is going to be an outstanding play against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, you can beat them deep. That's what George Pickens really likes to kind of success and excel at, right? So George Pickens, I think, a good play here in week 13. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to say Mark Andrews. Yet again, another kind of start of the week for me. I think that against this Bengals team, a lot of the tight ends have been shredding this defense, and Mark Andrews is getting some opportunity, right? He didn't really have a great game last week. I think he only had 1 reception out of his 4 targets, but I think this week's going to be a lot better. Don't be afraid, and don't go away from Mark Andrews. Stick with the guy. I think he's going to be really good at he's my 9th guy here in week 13. Now we're wrapping it up here at number 10. I'm going to go Gunnar Helm, right? The rookie tight end out of the University of Texas, now playing for the Titans and going against this Jaguars team. Look, he's getting pretty much the main workload. No more Calvin Ridley. Gunnar Helm is just getting all the workload he can handle against a Jaguars team that isn't the best against the tight end spot anyway. Look, they're going to lose. We know they're going to lose. That's okay. I think Gunnar Helm's going to be a big opportunity for him this week in week 13 to put up a lot of fantasy points for you. I think Gunnar Helm's a good start here in week 13. But look, guys, that's 10 guys that I have going on right now that I think is going to help you best win your league this week. They're all good starts for me. Make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you guys smash the subscribe button as well, and leave a comment down below. What do you guys think about these 10 guys I have for you guys? But look, I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.